Okay, so probably the hardest question on the paper, but quite a few of you actually managed to get 3 or above on this, so well done. If you were able to get any marks on this question, that's really positive because it is a difficult concept. But remember what we've said, in difficult questions, if in doubt, just talk about the theory, ignore the context. We're actually looking at E here. I'm just going to delete that. Ignore the context and just focus on the theory. So using examples from team sports, loads of opportunities, evaluate what the PRP is. So what is it? Why do we use it? How do we use it? Those might be words that we actually write down. How, why, but of course we always start with what is it? That's always your introduction or your key consideration. What is this theory? How and why? Evaluate is tricky because it wants you to think about why it's a good thing, why it's a bad thing, strengths and limitations. But thankfully, they're giving you a really nice open context. Any examples from team sports? So 5 marks, 5 points. How do we go about this? I will show you an example here before we go into the actual question itself. I did a little word bank, and these are the things that came to my mind straight away. So we need to talk about stimuli and responses. What is it? It's this idea of a time delay. Maybe we can link that to what's going on. And why does it happen? Well, it's because we've got this single channel mechanism, or it's called the single channel hypothesis, which states that we can only process one stimuli at once down a neuron, down a nerve ending. Okay, well, are there any other things that spring to mind? Well, we know it's something to do with trickery and faking people out, which can create time. That's an advantage. However, it can become predictable if we use it too much. And another term I added there was information overload. That it can make the performer freeze sometimes, the defender, sorry, because we're overloading them with too many choices. They've got too many things to think about, and that was a bit like Hick's law as well. If we've got too much going on, then our responses go down. Our response time goes up. So, like I said, if in doubt, just talk about the theory. You might not be able to do this bit, that's fine, but you can all talk about what the PRP is. You can give an example, and you can maybe even get 3 or 4 marks just like that. So have a little read of mine, and then I'm going to flick across to the mark scheme, and you can see where I've got those marks. So press pause, have a read, and now over to the mark scheme. This is the final question. The green is the stuff I think I've said, but you can see here it's broken down into 3 sections. This is all about the theory. This is just saying stuff about the PRP, and then you've got reasons why it's good, reasons why it might be bad. Notice at the end as well, I think we said this, nobody drew a diagram, which is fine, but you can get marks for a diagram. Instead of having to talk about it, you might draw something and just add notes. So you can't just talk about the strengths. You need to be able to say at least one thing about why it's bad, why it could be a difficult thing to do. And again, if you don't give an example or draw on some examples, you can only get 4 marks.